this goes out, how dark is it? It's like real dark.
I bet it's real
Dark, it's real dark.
That's pretty good. It's emergency lights. That should be something, shouldn't it?
I would think so.
I mean, here's a good sales opportunity for you.
Yeah. Yeah, that's just on the sign over there when he said it.
Yeah. Not even lighting.
Yeah.
Listen, fire marshal doesn't get you there.
Never have.
I guess because we're really on here 3 nights a week, so you probably might.
Feel like you need for public.
I know,
Public.
they're not hard to put up, so.
We need that.
Yeah.
Really.
And she's helpful.
It's 6 o'clock. I'd like to call our meeting to order at this time. Stand and pledge allegiance to the flag. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Yeah, we entertain a motion to adopt tonight's agenda.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to add discussion on paving to the agenda.
Okay.
And Rose, aye.
Thank you, Angel.
13A.
Yeah, that'd be good.
I would make a motion, we adopt the agenda with the addition of 13A.
Second.
Any additions or deletions to that agenda? If not, I'd entertain a motion to approve.
I make a motion to approve.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Approval of May 1st, June 1st, and June the 5th, 2023 minutes. Is there a motion to approve this time?
Mr. Mayor, I didn't see anything, it's been too long.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second. Any additions or deletions otherwise? If not, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries.
Oh, have we got this fixed or?
Haven't fixed as far as being
the
on
minute?
time.
Yeah,
Well, I do have the February and April. I just want to go back through the recording and make sure that I really.
and then from here on, we'll get them.
We should be
Okay.
able to.
For the comment, citizens may speak on items not listed on the printed agenda. Please state your name and address and observe the 3-minute time limit. Do we have anyone?
There was no one listed,
Really? I had somebody call me and tell me they were gonna be here tonight.
unless you want to share Ms. Jean's message.
Got it
but
down
up
for
to you.
the,
Okay.
okay. Resolution 2023-24-101, recognizing retired police chief Mark Hicks. Whereas Mark A. Hicks began his career in law enforcement with the town of Denton in 1993 as a reserve officer and became a full-time police officer with the town of Denton in 1994. And whereas Mark worked his way through the ranks of the Denton Police Department from Patrolman 1 in 1995 to Senior Patrol Officer in 1997, Corporal in 1999, Sergeant in 2000, Lieutenant in 2003, Captain in 2006, Chief of Police in 2007. Whereas in the years serving as Chief of Police, Mark served the residents of the town of Denton with his full commitment to his responsibilities as chief. Under his leadership, his department strived to provide the best service possible in order to have a safe and secure town. In doing so, he helped establish trust within our community with the residents and the business owners. And whereas Mark has also been involved with many local, county, and state organizations over the years. He has served as a member of the town's Parks and Recreation Board, a coach and a mentor. Now therefore be it resolved that I, Larry D. Ward, Mayor of the town of Denton, and the Board of Commissioners hereby recognizes that the service of Mark K. Hicks was an asset to the town of Denton, and expresses gratitude and sincere appreciation for his 30 years of service. The 7th day of August, 2023.
Tap to activate. Shutting down.
Mark, would you and your family, if anybody wants to come up with you, got a plaque to present you? Later in the evening.
You want a copy of that, then?
I have one
You have
for
one
you
of
to
you.
sign.
Excellent. Well, it states, Mark Hicks, 1993 to 2023. Thank you for your loyal service and dedication to the town of Denton. Really nice plaque.
Y'all wanna come around and we'll get a picture with Mark and
Where all my plants not Is that good?
I'm okay. Where am I going?
Just
We don't want blue and blue, right?
1, 2, 3. Mark, you got anything you wanna say? Okay.
I just want to start out by saying how grateful I am to have the opportunity to serve this community as the police chief. As I retire from this position, I want to express my sincere appreciation to the town council for their support and guidance over the years. I'm proud of the work we have accomplished together, and I'm confident that the police department will continue to thrive under the new leadership. I look forward to staying in connection with the council and remaining a part of this community. I want to thank y'all very much.
Thank you.
Have another resolution. Resolution 2023-24.02, awarding badge and service weapon to retired police chief. It's August the 7th. Board of Commissioners, Town Attorney, Misti, Whitman, Town Clerk, Paula Hedrick, resolution awarding badge and service.
Mr. Mayor, if you just read the resolution on the back, you don't have to read the memo.
Okay. Whereas General Statute 2187.2 provides that retired members of the municipal enforcement agencies may receive at the time of their retirement a badge worn and carried by them during their service with the municipality. And whereas further provides that the governing body of the municipal law enforcement agency may, in its discretion, award to the retiring member the service weapon of such retiring member. Whereas Chief Hicks has served as a member of the town of the Denton Police Department for a period of 30 years, from 1993 until his retirement on July 31st, 2023. Now therefore be it resolved that I, Larry D. Ward, Mayor of the town of Denton, and the Board of Commissioners do hereby authorize the following. The town manager or designee is hereby authorized in accordance with the provision of General Statute 20-187.2 to transfer to Mark Hicks the badge worn by him during his service with the town and the Denton Police Department, and service weapon, a Glock 40 caliber Model 22, and it states the serial number, adopted the 7th day of August 2023.
We actually presented this to Mark. The board had agreed to that already in the meeting, but we need to make it official that we did present those items to Mark at his retirement reception on the 31st. And one of his staff members actually paid his dollar for his Glock. So just want to let you know that.
Swearing in of Police Chief Michael James. Mr. Misti.
Mr. James, would you like to come forward?
I've got two little grandchildren, and I think probably wanna come up and help hold them
They
out
wanna
if
come up
they
and help
can.
hold? Put your left hand on, raise your right. Can you hold this for him?
Okay.
Okay, you two hold it. Okay. Okay, you'll repeat after me. I, Michael James,
I, Michael James,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support and maintain the Constitution
that I will support and maintain the Constitution
and laws of the state of North Carolina,
and laws of the state of North Carolina,
not inconsistent with the laws of the state of the United States,
not inconsistent with the laws of the United States,
and that I will faithfully perform
that I will faithfully perform
the duties as Chief of Police,
the duties as Chief of Police.
so help me God.
So help me God.
And do you want to sign here? Sign here, and then I'll sign as well.
The board wants to come on around. We'll get a picture with the link. Get a picture with the board.
Okay, they break the camera.
And then,
On my part,
and then we'll
not
get,
theirs.
then we'll get one with you and your family.
Okay, sounds good, thank you.
Okay.
You don't want that.
Yeah, this earlier, but. All right, and then Mike's family, you guys want to join him?
Absolutely.
Brenda's like, oh, yeah. Yeah. You gonna
All right, y'all.
It was Gary. I mean,
Oh, gosh.
back in the 70s, we're kind of.
That's right. All right, 1, 2, 3. Thank you, guys.
Okay, approval of updates to the jobs creation and beautification grant. It'll be Angel Jenkins.
So last meeting, as you guys recall, we reviewed the jobs and creations grant we've had in place for some time. So the copy that you have before you is the changes that we actually went through section by section and did an update for you. We made changes to section 2. I apologize, where's my copy on there? In section 2, under new jobs, we actually added an amount per employee that if someone applied for this grant, hiring on a full-time staff member for 35 hours or more per week for a period of 12 months, they could receive $500 per employee that was hired and maintained during that time. The second update to the grant was in section 3. We've changed this to a commercial and industrial construction grant for the water and sewer tap fees to be reimbursed. They would pay the tap fees up front. The taps will be installed for water and sewer, and then the general fund would do a reimbursement for, the amount that was paid once there's a certificate of occupancy, whether it's a new business or if it perhaps is a business that is not hooked on our sewer and water, and they decide to do that. The restoration and renovation portion, the only update that we did there is that we added that the grant is an amount equal to 50% of the increase of tax value and will be paid over an annual period of 5 years. And as you recall, the grant total payout would only be up to $5,000. And that's for any amount that the property taxes have increased. Okay. And then on number 5, I think we just really reworded this a little bit. We made it inclusive to be any business within the town limits. And then I restated that it is a prior approval, the projects must be obtained, and that the grant will be paid after the business is active for 12 consecutive months. Now, we can make changes if there's something that doesn't seem like that's what your wishes were at the last meeting.
I thought we did away with all taps.
So we did away with all taps at one meeting, then we came back and revisited it. So when we were talking about our budget, I think in our May meeting, we talked about doing away with the tap grant fee completely. At our last meeting though, it was asked to be added back on as taking out the residential portion of it and then just leaving it as a commercial, like business and commercial. And now, like I said, you can still make any changes to this grant before it's approved, or even after. You can bring it back up and we can look at it again.
Motion doesn't state residential or commercial, it just says do away with water and sewer taps.
Okay, that was in February,
Last meeting.
last meeting.
No, we don't
In
have last
July.
meeting yet.
No, that was in June.
Is this
That was
We
June.
don't have July
June
meetings yet.
meeting? Okay.
The July meeting, we went back and revisited, section by section. And that's when we came back to, because we were looking at the grant in entirety. So, but like I said, it is still your grant, so.
And even if the, water and sewer tap exceeded $5,000, the most that we would give to commercial is $5,000.
Right. Right now, they're in town is $1,000 water, $1,000 for sewer. Those could change over the years as the prices increase on our fee schedule. But the most that the grant pays out per location is $5,000.
Or if it's industrial, it could be, if they take an inch line, then you're higher tap fee.
Right, if it's a larger tap.
Should we put the 5,000 maximum somewhere? Or is
It's
it-
on-
is it
It's
in
on there. It's in the paragraph right here.
Okay, all right, I missed that, sorry.
No, you're fine. And I actually dropped it down so that it didn't run into the top, so it was noted. Is there any other questions or clarification that we need on that?
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to approve Tenant Jobs and Business Creation.
Second.
Any further discussion on this item? If not, all in favor say aye. Any opposed? That motion carries. Approved budget amendment number 1 FY 23-24 for the purchase of a new HVAC system for Denton Civic Center.
At our last meeting, we approved the purchase and installation for the HVAC system with AirMax, and that has taken place. This is to cover the funds for that from our savings to our appropriated fund balance in order to put that back into our expense account. And it is installed and senior citizens are very thankful for that. Any questions on that?
I make a motion that, we amend the general fund and the revenue stated.
Second.
Any further discussion this time? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. Consideration and approval of the following resolutions.
While you're getting the resolution, I'll just give a brief, overview of what this resolution is for.
Okay.
Chief James coming on, board, we are doing a resolution to adopt a policy for mutual aid, assistance with other law enforcement agencies, so probably did this whenever Chief Hicks came on board, all those years ago. It's hard to remember things over the years, but this way, Chief James can work with the, other local agencies and getting a mutual aid agreement set up and in place so that when we need them or they need us, that they'll be able to move forward with that. And with your, agreement to the resolution, then he can go out to those agencies and present this to them for their approval as well.
I'll read the resolution. Whereas pursuant to the North Carolina General Statutes 160A-288 and GS 90-95.2, the governing body of the city or county may adopt appropriate guidelines for the purpose of mutual aid assistance with other municipalities and county law enforcement agencies. Whereas pursuant to said laws, the law enforcement assistance to be rendered authorizes lending officers to work temporarily with officers of the requesting agencies, including an undercover capacity, and lending equipment and supplies. And whereas it is deemed to be in the best interest of the Town of Denton Police Department to adopt a reasonable policy and guidelines whereby reciprocal law enforcement assistance can be both rendered and to obtain from other governmental jurisdictions. And whereas such reciprocal assistance is necessary for effective law enforcement for the protection of the citizens of the Town of Denton. Now therefore be it resolved by the Town of Denton Board of Commissioners that the Town of Denton Chief of Police is hereby authorized to enter into mutual assistance arrangements with other municipal and county law enforcement agencies, provided that the head of the requesting law enforcement agency makes such a request in writing. The Town of Denton Chief of Police is hereby authorized to permit officers of the Town of Denton Police Department to work temporarily with the officers of the requesting agency, including in an undercover capacity, and the Town of Denton Chief of Police may lend such equipment and supplies to requesting agencies as he or she deems advisable. All such requests and authorizations shall be in accordance with North Carolina General Statute 160A-288 and 90-95.2 as applicable. While working with the requesting agency, an officer shall have the same jurisdiction, powers, rights, privileges, and immunities, including those relating to the defense of civil actions and payment of judgments as the officers of the requesting agency. In addition to those the officer normally possesses. While on duty, the requesting agency, an officer shall be subject to the lawful operational commands of the officer's superior officers in the requesting agency, but the officer shall, for personal and administrative purposes, remain under the control of the officer's own agency, including the purposes of pay. An officer shall furthermore be entitled to the workers' compensation and the same benefits to the extent as though he or she were functioning within the normal scope of the officer's duties. The town of Denton Chief of Police is hereby authorized to enter into mutual assistance agreements with other law enforcement agencies in accordance with such reasonable arrangements, terms and conditions as may be agreed upon between the respective heads of the law enforcement agencies. Adopted the 7th day of August 2022.
I would think you need a motion.
Well, it's a resolution, so there's no motion needed. It would just be if you have any concerns or comments that you'd like to share with the chief at this time in regard to that mutual aid agreement.
That's 22 instead of 23.
23.
And we'll update that for your signature.
So are you not going to adopt the resolution?
We don't normally vote on adoption.
We need to vote to adopt it. But you can do, if you want to adopt all 4 of these resolutions with one vote, you can.
So we'll do that at the end. Do you have any questions regarding this resolution? Okay.
This has been in place for a long time, correct?
It should have been. Now, I can't speak for what happened 16 years ago, but should have been.
We've always had mutual aid with the departments. Now, whether it's a resolution or not,
Right.
I don't know.
Right.
Yeah.
And then, Chief James actually, we just changed town of Denton from town of Spencer. So he provided that to us and we just adopted it for ourselves, adapted it. Okay. I'll go on with the next 3 if you guys are good. The next resolution, is supporting the creation of an Eastern Piedmont, North Carolina home consortium. This is handled through PTRC. I went to a meeting, with PTRC a couple weeks ago regarding this. Mayor Ward and I attended their annual budget meeting, and they talked about this, but they did this in more detail a couple weeks ago to let us know what is available for the town. So basically, what the consortium is, there are grants that are available for small projects for residents that they can apply for, like home repair. There has been in the past, like appliances, things like that. It would be, if we wanted to do, let's say we join the consortium, we get involved, and we say, we have 10 homes that we feel like need to have front porch work done, for example. We can apply, have them apply for the grant, take it to the consortium, and then submit that to the home consortium for approval. The money would be at no cost to the homeowners, and with us being a part of the consortium, the more population that is part of the group, the more funds that are made available. We'll have more details as to what type of grants could possibly be available once the consortium is fully formed, but it is a good process. Mayor and I talked about it after the meeting and said it would be a great thing for our community, not only for like home improvement projects, but also, you know, air conditioners, or I think you said stove and ovens one time was a replacement that they did.
Oh,
in the
yeah.
area. Refrigerators probably.
We need to get on that program.
Yeah. So I'll read through the resolution. It says, whereas if approved, this resolution would offer support for the creation of the Eastern Piedmont, North Carolina Home Consortium, and further authorize the town manager to negotiate and enter into an agreement with units of local government in 5 counties in creating the consortium. and further authorize the town manager to sign all contracts, grant agreements, certifications with the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development and the state of North Carolina or other agencies as may be required to carry out the activities of the consortium. Whereas the creation of the Home Consortium provides an opportunity for federal block grant funding to be used towards the development of affordable housing opportunities within the Eastern Piedmont Consortium, which covers Alamance, Caswell, Davidson, Randolph, and Rockingham counties. This action does not commit the town to provide any funding, as the only time a funding commitment may be required is if the town were to pursue a grant funding through the consortium for an affordable housing initiative. Whereas the Home Investment Partnership Program, in other words, HOME, provides formula grants to state and localities that communities use, often in partnership with local nonprofit groups, to fund a wide range of activities including building, buying, or rehabilitating affordable housing for rent or ownership, or providing direct rental assistance in low-income housing. HOME is a large federal block grant to state and local governments designed exclusively to create affordable housing for low-income houses, with home funds awarded annually and formula grants to participating jurisdictions. Whereas generally units of local government form consortiums to access direct formula allocations of home funds to support housing activities and programs for which the state automatically eligible for home funds and receive their formula allocation or $3 million, whichever is greater. Local jurisdictions eligible for at least $750,000 under the formula can receive a direct allocation. Communities that do not qualify for individual allocation under the formula can join with one or more neighboring localities in a legal binding consortium whose members are combined allocation would meet the threshold for direct funding. Under current funding levels, if all eligible counties and municipalities join this consortium, the proposed consortium would have a funding of approximately $2,172,070 annually. The net funding level after deducting administration fees used to run the program would be approximately $1.9 million. Whereas there are 25% of ongoing match requirements on all funds drawn from the consortium home investment trust fund treasury account in that fiscal year, the 25% non-federal match can be in form of cash, assets, labor, or services valuable to the home program. 25% match will be a responsibility of the recipient, assessing the funds on a project-by-project basis. In the current regional consortium, funds from private and nonprofit partners have produced far more match funds than would be required, and no local funds have been required for match. No money is required from the local governments to join this consortium. Now therefore, let it be resolved by the town of Denton and the Board of Commissioners in support of its participation in an agreement to join the Eastern Piedmont North Carolina Home Consortium, which will provide the opportunity for low-income residents of the town to receive benefits from the grant to be used towards the development of affordable housing. And that will be today, the 7th of August.
How do people apply for it? If we're not gonna do it through the town, how do?
It would be handled through, PTRC would be the lead on this, but then it's also, established through the counties, and, Alamance County is gonna be a lead on that. So, they'll handle all of the how and why and where. We just have to know what's available and what we can promote out to our residents as to what they can apply for.
But this consortium is gonna say where it goes.
Yes, so
So if they say it, push it over to Alamance County.
they could, but,
That's what I was wondering, because it's like,
when
you said the more people own it, the more money they get, but how are they going
How do they distribute it?
to distribute it? I mean, here again, Southern Davidson County not gonna get anything?
Well, we would hope not, since we're gonna be a part of that. I believe Thomasville has also adopted this same
Correct.
resolution. Lexington, I'm not sure about Midway and Wahlberg, but,
I don't think so.
okay. So the,
You're not going to, or just happened yet?
Just hadn't yet.
Okay.
so, and the, like I said, and the county, on the county level, I would hope that once this is completely established, that there would be a representative from each county. You know, PTRC has done a lot of things like this over the years to kind of incorporate everyone. So knowing that, you know, there's small projects and there's large projects. So it would depend on what we feel like a need is. And once I get more information, I can bring it back. It costs us nothing to join the consortium, and at any time we can withdraw from that. So if it's something that we get in and we see that it's not really a benefit for the citizens, then we can withdraw and move on.
So, but if we apply and receive, then there is a matching grant that we have to.
Not from us, it would be,
Oh, it's a town in low-income housing or something.
right,
Individuals. are not.
individual low-income housing, which we don't currently have a program like that, so that's handled through the county. So if it was something to do with low-income housing, they would have to go through what's already established with the county. We would not develop that program here. And then, you know, it does mention that there is a 25% match, but depending on what the project is, there may not be a match to that. It just depends on what programs come down or are made available. Do you guys have any more questions about that one? Okay. The next two resolutions, I'm gonna give you a little bit of background, and I'm gonna let you ask questions before I read the resolution, if you have any. So every year we update the water laws, right?
Correct.
Okay, so every year our water laws, local water supply plan is updated. But then every 5 years, the water response plan,
The water shortage response plan.
I just wanna make sure I'm saying the times right, are updated. And this was our year to do the water shortage response plan. The local water supply plan is an assessment of the water system's current and future water needs and its ability to meet those needs. The understanding of the current and future needs of local government will be better able to manage the water supply and better prepare for the plans that the water system needs for improvements. This is by general statute that all local governments have to provide this plan, and Troy is our distribution ORC, and he has updated these plans, both of them, for us. The water shortage response plan, Attorney Whitman actually reviewed that for us before it was sent in, because it does have fines that are assessed if they are not, the guidelines are not followed. So we wanted to make sure that we were within the legal standing before having those fines on there. The plan is sent in to the state, and then they send it back for your approval once they have approved it. So, y'all have any questions for Troy on any of the information? You've got a copy of the actual reports.
Troy, all this is right, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
The data that I get, yes, sir.
Okay. I trust you.
Okay, so let me read through the resolutions. Resolution 5 is for your local water supply plan, and whereas the North Carolina General Statute 143-355 requires that each unit of the local government that provides public water service and that plans to provide public water service, and each large community water system shall either individually or together with other units of local government and large community water systems prepare and submit a local water supply plan. And whereas, as required by the statute and in the interest and sound local planning, a local water supply plan for the town of Denton has been developed and submitted to the Board of Commissioners for approval. And whereas the Board of Commissioners finds that the local water supply plan is in accordance with the provisions of North Carolina General Statute for 143-355I, and that it will provide appropriate guidance for the future management of the water supplies for the town of Denton, as well as useful information to the Department of Environmental Quality for the development of the state water supply plan as required by statute. Now therefore let it be resolved that the Board of Commissioners of the town of Denton, that the local water supply plan entitled as such dated 2022 is hereby approved and shall be submitted to the Department of Environmental Quality Division of Water Resources, and be it further resolved that the town of Denton intends that this plan shall be revised and reflect changes in relevant data and projections at least once every 5 years or otherwise requested by the department in accordance with the statutes and sound planning of the practice. And that's effective today, August 7th. Your water shortage response plan, North Carolina General Statute 143-355I requires that each unit of local government provides water services and large community water systems and development and implement water conservation measuring to respond to drought or other water shortage conditions as set out in the water shortage response plan and submitted to the department for review and approval. Whereas required by the statute and in the interest of the sound local planning, a water shortage response plan to the town of Denton has been developed and submitted to the Board of Commissioners for approval. And whereas the Board of Commissioners finds that the water shortage response plan, in accordance with the provisions of the North Carolina General Statute 143-355I, and that it would provide appropriate guidance for the future management of the water supply for the town of Denton, as well as useful information for the Department of Environmental and Natural Resources for the development of the state water supply plan as required by statute. Now therefore let it be resolved by the Board of Commissioners of the town of Denton that the water shortage response plan entitled as such and dated March 20th, 2023 is hereby approved and shall be submitted to the Department of Environmental and Natural Resources, Division of Water Resources. And be it further resolved that by the Board of Commissioners intends that this plan shall be revised to reflect changes in relevant data and projections at least once every 5 years or otherwise requested by the department in accordance with the statute, sound planning and practice. On this 7th day of August 2023. We entertain a motion to approve all 4 resolutions at this time.
I make a motion that we approve the 4 resolutions that were just read.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Approved memorandum of understanding with the Davidson County 911 radio shop for the Denton Police Department and Denton Fire Department. And this will require a motion for the police and a motion for the fire department. Take 2 motions.
In my packet, I only have a copy of the Denton Police Department. There should be one for the fire. It's the same identical memorandum, so I apologize if you don't have a copy of that in your printed packet. What this is the new system that the police and fire department both are on, the radio system with Motorola. The Davidson County IT department is providing, it's actually with the Davidson County 911 Center, and they're calling it the radio shop. They are going to provide the maintenance for repair work to radios that we have in both departments. But in order to do so, we have to have a memorandum of understanding for both departments in order for them to perform any type of work on the radios. And then it also gives us a template for how much they would charge per hour based on what the needs are for the work being done. We would approve this, and then it would go to the county for their acceptance, and then they will send us back a signed copy of that at that time. If you guys have any questions, comments about this memorandum.
I guess it's up and running. We've been working on it for 2 years.
It is up and running. It's a good system. The new system with the police department is a little bit different, through 911, so, but it is up and running.
This is all handheld radios, or is it
Everybody.
It's everything.
all radios?
It's because everything's on the same system now, and it's you can go to your own traffic. It's been a while since we've approved them before. Probably last year we did some radios for the police department. 2
It's
years
still
ago
on
for fire
the
department.
Viper system.
Whatever system it is.
Is it Viper?
Still on that.
And that's the tower that they installed at the Limited World.
The rate sheet has, per radio, per car, switching out, everything.
Yeah.
If both fields do it, totally.
It'll be a lot quicker too than trying to send back to Motorola and trying to get it back when it's needed, so.
So that's how it was done previously?
Yes,
Well, there's another radio shop, sort of like this, but independent.
independent, so we'd have to send it off and have it done. Now we could just take it to the county and have it done.
I make a motion to approve the one on the police, Mr. Mayor.
Second.
Second. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor say aye. Any opposed? That motion carries.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to approve the one on the fire department.
Second.
Any further discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
That motion carries. Approved street closure ordinance for the Denton Street Festival, October 14th, and Monster Mash, October 28th.
Both street closures before you, had to be updated and changed a little bit. We try to do annual as much as possible. The, street festival for the second Saturday in October, we've actually changed the time for that event. Vendors asked to have a longer event, and we're having 2 bands on that day. So we're gonna do 7:30 in the morning to 7:30 in the evening, and that will be annually the second Saturday in October. Street closures will be from North Main Street from First Street to Salisbury, and then Salisbury would be from South Main to Jones. As the vendors wind down, if they, between Anderson and Jones, we could potentially open that back up, and just kind of, move on into the main part of town. But for most part, it would be from South Main to Jones. On the Monster Mash, this is a new request going to the state to ask, to let them know that we'd like to have it closed during this time. It would be from 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. and it's just North Main Street from First to Salisbury and Salisbury from North Main to Anderson, just so that we can kind of control traffic, kind of avoid kids running out in front of cars if they're
Are they
there.
gonna start at 3? That's awful early.
We're starting at 4, so but that gives them time to get set up, the kids are coming down, and most everything in town's closed at 2 o'clock on Saturday now, so, I don't think it would be. I can check.
Is it 28th Saturday? Okay.
Yeah, and Lanier's, I think Lanier's has just changed their time to 2 o'clock on Saturday as well, so. The Village is closing at 2, so it wouldn't impact their, traffic going into the restaurant. Any other questions on those 2 events?
Make a motion that we approve the street closures for as stated for the street festival and the Monster Mash.
Second.
Second. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion does carry. A discussion on paving.
So,
Yeah, Mr. Mayor.
so in your, weekly review, I've listed out that I have been in contact with Todd Yates. Todd was gonna come into town on Friday, we're gonna ride around, see where we are, cause they did so much patchwork that the current street, listing, and I meant to print that for you guys, cause I knew you were gonna ask me, about it. I wanna make sure that what they have patched is still what would be recommended to be paved. And, so I sent everything out to Todd, and he's gonna get back to us. He had planned to be here Friday, but he had something else he had to do. So once he gets in, we can ride around and look and make sure that what he sees, being that he's on our streets every month or so doing the utility cuts and plus doing the patchwork, that is still what our needs are. I reached out to Chris Poyer, and he said that any need that we have, be more than glad to help us. He's actually gonna, I didn't have the full detail of the program that they did last year or early this year, I think. Can't remember what date they did that, but I didn't have full detail. All I had was street listings, and so he's gonna go in and save like the segments and the depth that they feel like it needs to be and things like that. I've got the actual bid packet ready for this information just to be plugged in. I'm just waiting to get that information on the streets and what we see is the need.
I also talked to Mr. Yates, several weeks ago, and he was saying on the paving that most entities have already, pavers have already got their schedule through the end of the year. And with the economy, he's seen it in other industries and probably gonna trickle into theirs, that we may get more bang for our buck in the beginning of the year because prices would probably come down on the paving and more people will need to work because other entities will start putting things off.
Which is the same thing that Chris Poyer had shared with Michael and I earlier on. That's why we presented to bid in August for that spring. And if we bid out in August and we get a company that we approve of, they can do that whenever. But as Mr. Yates said, prices seem to be coming down. It's projected that by the first of the year, we could potentially get more paving for what we have on budget.
We're gonna need more every time we go, another week, another month, another year.
Yes, sir.
I mean, we hadn't paved in how many years?
3.
We haven't full paved in 3 years. We've discussed this.
We patched, that ain't paving.
We have done crack seal. We have done some of the roads that we did the,
I mean, I don't know why we hired this one
ASC.
company, then we hired this other company, and then we're not gonna take their word, we're gonna go back to the way we did it 20 years ago that y'all didn't think we did it right. But Michael and the pavers look at it.
So we used to work with Abbott's Creek Paving, and as you guys know, in 2020, Rick Austin said that he would not be back on site to do paving work. He would not be an engineer to be walking around with the people, and that if we wanted to use him, we had to pay him through electronic transfer, I believe was what he said. Due to COVID, he was not going to be back in. So that's what we would have done 2021. 2020, we did all of our crack seals before the world shut down. In 2021, I don't know that there was anything done, but last year, this year and last year, we did some patchwork and stuff. I do know that it has been quite a while since we did surface paving. But as stated, you have to work with the system. Now, in the past 2 years, we tried to piggyback off of the North Carolina Department of Transportation's contracts, but we were not able to do so. So that put us those 2 years, the fall of 21 and the fall of 22.
We don't have to work within their system, we work within our system.
That's what we're doing this year. That is where we are at this point.
So.
Yeah, cause we were just trying to save some money and get there again more.
Right, and then, I mean, and our
bang for our
budget,
buck.
right, our budget is bigger because we've not been able to do that paving. So we will get more paving done because we have a bigger budget at this point.
So when are we gonna be able to put out for bids?
I'm waiting on Todd, and I know that we worked with Seppi. Let me
But the board's
explain.
already voted to go with Steppy.
Seppi is done,
But we didn't, the board vote to accept his
okay.
requirement? I'm just
Seppi-
asking, I'm not,
I know, so Seppi did, an evaluation of our current street conditions,
and the board said, this is what we're gonna do,
okay?
correct?
You did, but in that time, we have done patchwork. And that patchwork can change the conditions of what that mix of fixes was that you agreed for us to move forward and pay. So that's what I need to find out from Todd, because I don't know what all Todd, I don't have a list from Mr. Yates as to what they patched and how that affects the layout of what Seppi recommended for us to do. Now, Seppi is not like, I have found, is not like Abbott's Creek. They did our road condition study, and they are done. Now, if we want to do anything else with them, then we'll have to go under contract with them for any other work that there is. So they're not an ongoing service. They came in, they did their project, and they are finished at this point.
I don't think we knew that.
I don't think we
So
knew
what-
that.
But it don't matter different, we're not taking what they told us to do.
I don't think we knew that at the time either. But there again, things have changed since they gave us those recommendations. So that's why I don't feel comfortable for us to bid out that we need that approved list of streets that we approved to be done. That may not be our best avenue at this point. It may be that there are streets that need more, there may be streets, and plus we've got the ARPA funds where we're gonna be doing water lines. We definitely don't wanna pay on a street that we're gonna cut to put in a water line.
I thought they were working together about that.
Seppi and Labella don't work together. They don't have any of their information.
Left hand on what the right hand's doing, in other words.
Seppi and Labella are two separate companies.
I know that, but I'm saying,
So
never
that's, and Seppi's, like I said, Seppi's finished. They're actually even a new company now. I can't think of the name of it. But,
send them a termination letter then.
they're terminated already. We don't have a contract with them.
Where is their original contract?
It would be in the minutes. But it would be in the minutes of, earlier this year or late last year. So I'm not sure, and I can go back to the agenda and look and I'll let you know. I will do that.
I'd just like to reread it
Yeah.
and see how we
Yeah.
missed it. All they were doing was giving us
Because
names
I
of
thought they were,
streets.
I really
I
thought.
I thought
thought
they were
Abbott's
executing and it was gonna be a,
They
an
can,
ongoing.
I thought
But
it
that's
was
a
gonna be
separate contract.
like Rick Austin, same deal.
Yeah.
They
just a different
can.
person.
like I said, they can do that, but that's a completely separate contract. The contract that we did with them was only to do the conditions of our streets.
Because he did several scenarios. We decided to go
Yeah.
with the mix
The
of
board voted to go
fixes.
mix and fixes, cause it got the most on the different roads.
Right.
I think that's right.
I thought that was the next step, is that
That
they
was-
executed it, but,
How many months
Yeah,
ago?
They didn't, yeah. So that's
And two
that's
not,
why I'd like to see that,
No.
that contract.
yeah. Like I said, I'll go back on the agenda and send
Are
an email
you-
out to y'all so
Okay,
you'll have it.
thank you.
So,
Are you and Michael gonna ride the roads?
no, Michael and, Mr. Yates actually rode the roads a couple months ago, but Mr. Yates wanted me to see what he's seen based off of that mix of fixed road list that we had, that we are putting out for our bid. But, he just does not feel that that is our best avenue, and he's a paver, he does this for a living. So, I feel like because he has done our utility patching as well, that I think it's worth us listening to what he has to say. So, as soon as I have that information, like I said, I've got the bid pack information, it's just dropping in what's needed, and then we'll get it sent out and move forward. But and also in saying that, you know, I explained, so years ago, if you wanna say that we back up 20 years, we're not doing that. Years ago, it was done within Public Works, and we do not have the staff to do that anymore. It's not gonna be handled that way. I also
We
want to say.
didn't pay, we just rode around with Haynes or whoever, or Yates or whoever, and they
Right.
both
And we-
together looked at the streets.
We don't have staff to do that now, except for Michael. Michael knows all the streets and where all the lines and everything are buried, for sure. But, you know, when Rick Austin handled it through, Abbott's Creek Engineering, he did all the bidding, he sent it out, brought it back in, and brought it to y'all for approval. So you see that end result. Asking to have the bid packet put on for your approval. That
I didn't say for approval, I said to look at. And we'd already done the streets, don't
Okay,
twist my words.
okay, so, but it,
And you didn't put it on, and any
does.
commissioner asked for something to be on agenda, should be put on agenda.
and I explained to you why I didn't.
But that's not the point.
Okay.
The point is, if a commissioner asks you to put it on agenda, it should become agenda.
Okay, I understand. And once it's completed, I mean, and what we have done in the past since I've been here is we have sent it out and brought it back to y'all. So that's what my plan is to do.
Best case scenario, when do you think we can, when do you think we can get some paving done?
I have no idea. I don't know.
February, March, something like that?
July.
August next year. Let's just shoot for that, so that way
Yeah.
we can all be happy. That's all I know.
We're not all gonna be happy. I can tell you that.
Anything else?
No.
Okay. Town attorney update.
How are we this evening?
Great.
So there's not a lot for me to report that's public record, but everything is going smoothly. Angela and I are still doing our updates and working well together. There's been some public record requests, which we've taken care of, and some other items, and all that's been handled. And she's done everything I've needed, and I think I've done everything she's needed.
Okay.
I tried.
Very
Any
good.
questions for me?
Town manager report.
Did you get these out? So these are, your diagrams for your town hall, renderings from John Fuller. John reached out to me on Friday and, has done a 3D rendering of what he sees the town hall building looking like. And there's a front and back to the floor plan. So if you look at, the color renderings of the town hall, it is still in keeping with the modern look that the building itself already has. It has a side view of the part that would be facing Harrison Park. And then the view from the street, and then the view from the right side, which is currently on, well, the first street side. There are two separate, floor plans. One is, floor plan 6, if you look at the bottom, town hall floor plan 6, has what you guys requested at the last meeting with Mr. Fuller, and that was to have, open access to the town manager and the mayor's office, but also creating a barrier between the admin department and the public. The back side of that is option 8B, and I asked John to send this to me. Just, I had Commissioner reach out to me to say that they were really considering the safety of the building, so I asked him to please provide that. I did attend a active shooters training at PTRC on Thursday, and I spoke to the emergency management system for Forsyth County. He said that if at all possible, when you're doing something like this, the best way to secure a building is to do it when you're doing renovations, and with the way that our world is, that it would be to our advantage to do that while we're doing this remodeling project. But any questions that you guys have? Like I said, 6 is what you asked for, and then 8 is the same thing, except it just creates that hallway that gives a separation, a little bit more security for those front 2 offices.
I like 8B.
Yeah.
I like having that door that, I guess they could be buzzed through. that they can't come straight in and make an attack without getting through some sort of security. I like that.
I will say, if you look at the two interior bathrooms, on the one that he presented to us originally, the two interior bathrooms were together. But on the colored print, there's insets in the brick on the outside of the building that are already there. And so he moved the bathrooms themselves down in order to leave those two alcoves so that they wouldn't have to structurally change that. So that's why on the floor plan itself that the bathrooms are actually split. And then on the colored one, he has the information inserts that are there, which I think is a really neat way to utilize that space for your park and, you know, put your calendar events and things that are going on in the town. Any questions or comments or suggestions that you see? So at this point, John he's waiting on our direction as to which floor plan you guys want to pursue, and then he'll bring back prices of everything, and we'll start looking at where to go from here. I actually had a color print too of the like overall campus, but for some reason it would not print to the copier in the correct size format. So I'll email you guys that out.
I think the offices need to be secure and the employees secure.
Is that really the only difference?
The only
That's it, isn't it? I mean, it's just the closing that off.
In a perfect world, it would be nice to be able to have it that open, but I just think in today's world, we need to protect our people, and that's why I like the wall with it having to be buzzed in.
And I think if I'm not mistaken, that maybe there where to the left when you come in, there's a table and two chairs. That's probably a glass window like wall so you can see in and out too. I think that's what we had discussed at one point.
And that would be good because you can still see what's going on the other side of if the girls need something or the employees need something or there's a security risk there. Somebody comes in and just.
When, I'm not sure if you guys are aware, but PCRC, they've actually purchased the building that's behind them, and then they're getting ready to also build on to the building they're currently in. And one of the things that they said at the training the other day is, Matt Reese, you know, they've got a double lobby, doors, and they've got an automatic lock. So they can lock someone into that lobby without giving them access into the building if the, you know, staff be there by themselves or whatever. But it's all on camera, all entrances are, remote entry, and there's an app on their phones that they can do that. But, he said that when they thought about doing their building, they thought that was a great concept for them. And now that they're going to actually move the meeting areas and stuff to another building, that they'll be more secure and they'll kind of come across and close down their office areas instead of having it so open. I'm just looking to the future as to what could potentially happen.
Well, and especially in light of what we had in Thomasville and in Lexington this past year with the
a lady that was a bit unstable and came into the facilities. It caused Thomasville to revamp all of theirs, and they've gone in and put in security protocols and locked some doors because, you know, she was able to make her way all throughout the building and they found sitting in offices at computers just willy-nilly. And it's because, you know, you never really thought about that. I mean, it was Thomasville. How much trouble are you gonna have? And, you know, she wasn't armed or anything, but she was, you know, trying to gain access to records and things that she shouldn't have access to. So not only, you know, if you go with this scenario, you know, if Angel or Mayor walked out of their office, it leaves it open potentially for people just to meander in and discover other things as well. So not only just from a safety standpoint, but also from a record keeping standpoint.
You guys have guidance, do you want me to have John attend the meeting? Do you want me to send him information? Thoughts or comments about that?
Has the staff looked at it?
No, but I can give it to them. Our staff at Town Hall, well, no, Elizabeth was out last week. So, no, I printed them today and didn't go over it with her, but, I think.
But they looked at it originally, didn't they?
The original.
It's the same.
Yeah, it's the same, except just closing that portion or opening it. It's a good workflow, especially now that the admin department is closed off. I like that much better, so that, you know, there's no access into that area for safety, for information, security, and things like that, so.
If someone, I know I'm talking way down the road, but if someone actually needed to see the town clerk, the clerk would come out to meet them?
What I envision, is that the mayor's office be set up as an office / mini conference room.
Okay.
So that, the clerk or any of the admin staff or myself or whoever your manager is could come out and go into that office instead of actually being in their office if needed. If there were multiple people that needed to meet, you know, or you know, you've got really good access to the smaller conference room that's there as well. But having that set up so that no one actually physically goes into that part of the building.
I like that.
I don't know if you've noticed, but we've put on all of our doors and things around here that it's an employee only. That has been recommended from the state. Misti and I have talked about that, and just indicating what areas are public and what are not. And so, anytime, and you have to abide by that. If you let one in, then you have to let them all in. So, if it's a non-public area, then you have to make sure that you adhere to that.
Yeah, you have to put probably 2 terminals in there too. Like the mayor would have a computer and then maybe another one.
We could
pending.
potentially, especially when we wire everything, we would go ahead and wire everything up for, you know, internet, networking, and things like that. As we do in this one, we don't currently have a full-time mayor who's here every day, but if at any time in the future, someone wanted to be here on a regular basis, or if the mayor needed to be, then we definitely could do that. Either, you know, bring his laptop or have a computer just for that purpose.
At least wired for that.
Oh, yeah,
So-
we absolutely would have it already wired for that. We have this office wired, for that purpose. Okay. Any yays or nays on which direction of the board today?
Anybody else besides me?
Julie?
I mean, I'm good with AD. It's really not a lot
Best
of
plan.
difference.
Anybody?
I'd like to see Priscilla come back with the next steps on AD.
I will, I'll ask him him to go ahead and proceed, because like I said, that's just a minor change that may even, if he can do the 3D rendering, at least get even more visual. That's how the lobby looks and the appearance of it and everything. I think it's probably, sometimes a 2D is hard to really get a grasp on how it's gonna look. But if we can get him to do that 3D, we'll have more of an idea.
We have an estimate then on the cost.
That's what I was hoping to go ahead and push out to him, if you guys are okay, either or. Okay, but good with everybody? Go ahead and push out, okay. So I'll send it back to John and ask him if he can draft up something and bring it back to us at our September meeting. That's all I have for open session.
Amy, do you know when we might get out some of the ARPA fund money for the water and sewer?
We met with, Heather Miller a couple weeks ago. She brought the final drafts in, and there was, what our plan is to replace 2-inch water lines, and it's more in the area of, like Carroll Avenue coming into Salisbury. And, there were a couple of lines that had already been replaced. So what she has done is sent to the state and said, listen, we've discovered that these 2-inch lines are not here, and she's asking them to let us add more to that, because some of them were smaller in section, or a large section, we could add smaller sections to cover that, what we'd already budgeted. And the state sent back and approved that, and she's just waiting on that final approval, and she'll have it bid out. I would say probably end of September, October, we should be seeing more information coming on that. And I have told her, when she gets to a good point, I want her to come and meet with the board, present everything, so you can meet her. I know you've not put a face on her, and with Lavella, and she's really worked through it. She's taken all of our mapping and given us some great ideas. Rural Water has also come and met with Troy at the sewer plant. They have a program that we can map out our infrastructure, and so we're going to try to work with them. There's grants available to do it, but Heather Miller said if we can get Rural Water to work with us and do it, it'll be a much quicker process to have everything mapped out, and then we'll know better where our assets are.
So where I now, she's doing the same thing?
Yes, we're doing both.
So to have it all ready in September.
We hope. It's still that hurry up and wait with the state. I mean, they gave out money across the whole state. Everybody's still trying to do the work, so that's our goal. But I can't promise what comes back from them. I'm meeting with, just on another note, Summit Engineering tomorrow for the Highway 109 water extension project that's going on there. DOT has come back and wanted us to change the plans, and so Mac and Bobby are coming in town tomorrow and want me to go look at what they potentially see. We've looked at it on paper, but we may have to do some easement agreements with the property owners, because we don't have enough right of way to do what the state wants us to do. So, but that's forthcoming. As soon as we have that information, we'll bring it back to the board for approval on that. And if we can get it moving quick, it may be a special call meeting to get that processed. Don't have anything else?
Anything else? Commissioners' comments or concerns? Anything?
Since we do have some new people that are going into, running for office, is there any way that we can have some sort of something so that, and invite the public so that people can know what the people who are running are standing for?
That's not our job.
Like a town hall meeting. I mean, I think it would probably be, because they're not elected officials, but I don't know.
That's usually a civic group's job, not.
I will look. Thomasville did something last year or year before where each candidate was able to do a spiel that ran on their
Yeah, they
channel
do it on the
13.
TV as
Yes.
a community service or whatever.
Yeah, as a community service, and so I don't know if it's, I'll look and see any way that that's been done there and share that with you.
Okay.
But it may just be that they have some other group that actually puts it together, but I'll see what I can find.
I just had one question, I hate to bring it up again, streetlights on 109, anything?
So, Duke Energy just sent me the final contract for the lights. They're doing lights on Broad and Spring, which are just regular, regular obligation of street lights. They have, Ivy Street, which is that new development just off of Harvard. They're also adding some lights around, Farmer Denton Road, Salisbury, Harvard, and, around the cemetery. All the poles are already there, kind of light up that area. There's an area between Clotman Mill Road and Harvest Lane that they felt like there was some extra lights there. The lights on 109 coming into town from Thomasville, that's gonna be a huge project. So they're still trying to figure out what they can do and where, because there's no poles there. First pole is at, First Street. No, it's not First Street.
There's one at First, there's one at Third.
Third. There's one there at Third at the corner at the, right in front of NH Meds. So that's the first one on 109. And then you get down to Light, of course, but, from there
There's one
to,
classic.
from there to Handy, there's not very many for what you're looking to do. So they would have to figure out how many and, the cost that we would be responsible for. So that's the last part of that little leg that they're working on. The rest of it, you should be seeing them. I think Broad Street's going in next week, and then they're gonna try to catch Spring as they're doing the development of it, and they're laying in the power lines, going to set the power poles and stuff.
Out at Tractor Supply, since they're in town now, we need to plan on a couple lights up that way too, I would think.
I would too.
Well, we definitely can look at that. I know their property lights will probably eliminate that significantly. We did add, based on what they determined was a need, there at Clotman Mill, so I can't remember where our last one is. I think the tractor OPE is probably where our last one is, but they actually added a new one there at Clotman Mill Road, and then one just as you turn down Clotman Mill, kind of eliminate that intersection. But as far as the Tractor Supply, we've got, they're in town, but there's that portion of in and out of town. So I don't know if we have the rights to put lights on those poles, but I can definitely ask.
We have a lot of purple lights downtown.
Yes, I reported, 11 the other night, and, so hopefully they'll be changed out. The problem seems to be is that we report them, they change them, and then they turn purple again. I mean, and it's pretty quick, and the ones that I'm reporting are the same ones that they just replaced. So I'm not sure what the deal is with those lights, but, it is a problem. Some people like the purple lights. It's not my favorite.
I can't, one more thing, and I'm not an expert on this by any means, but yesterday I was coming during the rain that we had, and I came by Tractor Supply, and there at their driveway, there was a huge ponding of water for no more rain really than we had. I mean, we had, maybe I was not in Denton when it started, so I can't say how hard it rained, but something to me didn't look like it was draining right.
On the road?
On the road, it was on the road, it's like it was coming out, it's right at their parking lot, but coming out.
Like coming into town.
Mm-hmm. Coming into town.
I'll
So
mention
coming
that.
out of their parking lot onto 109.
Yes,
That's that one goes together.
right there where, something just might bear looking at, because it was not, I don't know, like I say, how hard it did rain here, but
I'll reach out to.
there was a lot when we came through, and
I'll reach out to their contractor, he had actually called today, and just let him know that they have really graded that, and they have retention ponds, there's one right there at the road where you're talking about.
This is where the slope is,
I think
the way it was built.
Yeah.
So I'll let him know that there might be a potential issue there. They are doing their grand opening on the 19th, and he did call me about having a ribbon cutting, so if you guys are available, we'll let you know the time of that.
Well, he said that they would not be handling it themselves. He didn't know if we had a group that would handle that for them. So I told him, I said, well, if you choose to do that, to let us know.
Okay, so they may not do a ribbon cutting. They're used to going into towns that have a chamber of commerce, and we don't have one, so.
We probably want to do one for them.
Y'all can definitely do this.
What did you say, Mayor?
I didn't hear
I
that.
said we should do one for them.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
So who can come on that day? I don't know what time.
It's a Saturday.
It's a Saturday.
It's
and
2
he did
weeks.
not say.
I guess find out what time they want to do it. If it's early, I can come, not I gotta say, or late, I can come.
I would think they would want to do it early,
Early, I'd
like
say.
before they,
First thing, 8 o'clock or something, I think.
because I guess they're doing soft openings today. I mean, not today, on the 12th.
No, I didn't, it's Saturday.
We'll reach back out to Mr. Gavin tomorrow and let you guys know.
But you don't want to.
Okay, anything else? If not, closed session for personnel matters in accordance with NCGS 143, all that. I need a motion and a second.
So moved.
Second.
Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Now, closed session. So, parking lot is pounded.
It was a lot, I mean, we came through there and getting through that, I mean, it was just like, you would, much more, and it would be easy to high grade plane and place people.
Excuse me, the other day I came by, and all the engineers, the DOT, and everybody was standing at that drum. So they may be.
They may know, because it, and like I said, I
Because
don't know
this
how-
is after it's all been paid, they were all
I
standing.
don't know how hard it rained either, but it was just appeared to be a lot to us.
Make no difference.
Yeah,
If
I
it's
mean,
hot enough,
because you know how people drive through
Yeah.
there too, cause it,
probably go the road. I've seen if it's hot enough.
yeah, that's what we, much more use out here.
I need to find this outlet.
I meant to do that when y'all here.
His mom is Holly Burger,